What's up, Chase? How's it going?
Good, Dennis. How are you, man?
I'm good. Hey, thanks for following along on my Instagram. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. I actually been following you for a long time.
Have you? I
Yeah.
didn't recognize. I'm like, Michael, I don't see your face, but what's up, my man? How's it going?
How's it going? Trying to figure this.
So my name is Dennis. I appreciate the emails out, Travis and Chase introducing me, and I said, what do you want me to do today? What's up? And Travis is like, why don't you come in and take the mic? I mean, I host a podcast. I'm used to doing this. I run groups, and actually Travis's son is in my group. It's called the Foundation, and I meet with young men in middle school and in high school. And so Brock is in my group, and he goes, take the mic and do what you normally would. So I always start those meetings with share a win or a struggle for the last 2 weeks. So I think the last time you were together, you had David Waldy on. Was that the last time the group was together?
Correct.
And I mean, self-admittedly, I have a huge man crush on David Waldy. I love everything about him. Every time I talk to him, I feel like I want to go pet a puppy and look at the sunshine. He's just that kind of man. So after him being on 2 weeks ago, I'll start off. I want to know a win or a struggle for you guys over the last 2 weeks, and then we'll go from there. I'll take you through a little like how I would run a group coaching, which will be a little bit different than David. Michael, you mind starting us off, a win or a struggle for the last 2 weeks?
Starting off. Okay, I can't quite hear you.
I said either a win or a struggle for the last 2 weeks of your life. A win or a struggle?
A win, definitely. I'll say my daughter asked for, she's getting ready here in the next month, so for school shopping, and she's this year, and I've been trying to her for the last, and I told her if she sits 20 minutes and reads a book with me, then I'll get her makeup that.
Michael, what book did she read to you?
We're going to read Strong Daughters.
Nice. Good stuff. Desiree,
I've been trying for 3 weeks or so.
Congrats, my man. That's a big deal when you finally make that connection and get through to them. Awesome job. Desiree,
sorry. What book was that? Michael?
Father, Strong Daughters.
Oh, I've never read that. That sounds really good. What's can you say like what's it about real quick?
From what I understand, I haven't started reading it yet, but from what I understand, it just helps create a community between a daughter and father, and sense of how the father in a daughter's life, I'm assuming. Travis can probably speak a lot, but that's what it's about.
So it's called Strong Daughter, Strong Father, Strong Daughter.
Yeah, Des, when he's done with it, I'll give you the book, Des.
Yes.
Desiree, I just put it into the chat window too for you, so you can click on the link for Amazon.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So Desiree, give us a win or a struggle for the last 2 weeks?
When I actually just started going to a Toastmasters group last week. I thought that was super cool. I'm really excited. I ended up, like, my first Toastmasters group ended up definitely being with a really old folks group. It was like I basically went to an old folks home. But like it gave me a good idea about, like how the Toastmasters are structured out, and that was really, really exciting. I know that I really need to work on my public speaking because I just get so freaking nervous, and you don't get better unless you actually do it. And so I already had to like go up and talk, so that was like kind of crazy. But yeah, that was a huge win. Super, super exciting. I would say struggle. I really, this last week, surprisingly enough, like I've been really working a lot just on like my mental health and just listening to like really, really solid podcasts and I like this last week feel like I didn't really struggle a ton, which is kind of crazy to say because I feel like the last few months I have been a freaking struggle bus or train or like whatever. I don't even know what the term they say. I'm just like, I've been a train wreck, but Chase could definitely vouch for that. But anyways, yeah, I've been good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So, Desiree, you're really gonna like part of this presentation today into like the mentality around the language we use when we talk to ourselves. I'm gonna take a little bit of a shift, and we're gonna talk about how important the words we're using when we speak to ourselves, stuff that we say to ourselves we would never say to anyone else, but we talk to ourselves that way. So we're gonna get into that. And so you're gonna come out of this saying like, I am a world-class presenter. I'm gonna kill it when I stand up in front of the Toastmasters group. No longer where you're going to be saying, well, I'm not really a good public speaker. That's out the window. All right, Brandon.
Can I share one more win just real quick? Sorry.
Oh, you got
As
two
you were kind of
wins,
saying
double
that,
dose.
I actually started praying again, which I will be honest, I probably have not prayed for minimum probably at least a year. I don't know. And so I thought that was a pretty cool win. I don't know like if any of you like believe in God or kind of like where you're at with that, but yeah, it's kind of weird to me. Not like in a bad way, but it's been really, really helpful over the last week too. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Congrats. Big deal. That's awesome. Brandon, a win or a struggle?
I would say it's a struggle, but it's kind of a win as well. What I want to talk about, basically unexpected financial difficulties. I don't know if you know, but I was incarcerated and I've only been home for about maybe 100 days now. And I'm just getting back into the rhythm of, living and working and, just regular functions of society. And in the midst of this, coming up on unexpected finances that I would have to pay for, like within a week span of time, I had to replace 2 tires, power steering pump. Then I had to go to the physical therapist because I hurt my shoulder and the insurance didn't cover it. So I had to pay a huge physical therapy bill. But all of that, I'm grateful to be in a situation that it really wasn't an issue for me because I'm in a situation that I could cover it. It made me a little uncomfortable having to shit out that much money, but the fact that I have the ability to and I could do it is something that I was grateful for.
Awesome. Yeah, and it's one of those things where you don't see it at the moment, but there's a reason why you're going through that. It's going to develop this level of resiliency for you down the road, and you'll look back and you'll say, I went through that to get to where I am right now. I appreciate you sharing. Blair, give us a win or a struggle for the last 2 weeks.
This one's been my struggle for the last 2 weeks. Actually, it has been coming back from, I was in Idaho I guess it's been 2 weeks since I've been there, but sorry, my heartbeat's like beating. She's just not slept good. And like I had 2 nights where she was up for like 4 hours in the night and I couldn't like get her back to sleep. So then it made my days like suck anyways. So those thoughts come in your head, and so I just had these like terrible mom feelings, but and feelings towards her, but she slept through the night the last 2 nights, so thankfully we are hopefully in a better phase. I don't know. Being a mom's rough, and like I have my own business. I have a cookie business that I do out of my house. And so taking care of that and her and being a single mom, it's just like a lot of stuff. And so it's rough some days, but I got cookie dough made today and she went across the street to go play and I had free time from her for like a few hours. So it was a better day today. Anyway,
And I'll tell you about. So thank you for sharing that. That's a lot. Being a mom,
Yeah.
being a single mom is tough. Owning your own business, and all of that. As a father of three, a single dad of three, I can empathize. It wasn't when the kids were little, but I can feel your pain there. And you're in the middle. You're just like the tide is pulling you out, and the waves are crashing on you. Just hold on. Like
Yeah.
you will get through. And all of a sudden, she's gonna be rolling out cookie dough with you.
yeah,
Very soon in the kitchen with you. It's just a matter of time. Thank you for sharing, Laura. I appreciate it.
yeah.
Scott, win or struggle for the last 2 weeks? Scott, you're muted, buddy.
Blair, you may not like this, but I'll say it anyway. My wife and I's kids are with their other parents today, so our house is totally quiet. We may or may not go for a walk. We may or may not go out to dinner, and it's really nice.
You're just gonna listen to the birds chirping in the background.
I'll give you a win. On Saturday, we took the kids out to a waterfall, Jump Creek Falls. It's out here. It's about an hour away from where we live. We took some fruit and some sandwiches and drinks out and had a tailgate picnic and played in the water. The girls had a good time. They swam out to the waterfall and back a lot. The boy found a dead crawfish and he was poking it with a stick for about an hour. So he was having a good time. But it was good to get the kids out, get their wiggles out, get them away from the screens, get them exposed to something new. That's our win for the week.
That's great. And the best part about that, Scott, is it's those little moments that people are like, it's a throwaway moment and you appreciated every single minute of that. You appreciated all that good stuff. I love that. Shad, give me a win or struggle for the last 2 weeks if you can hear me.
I can. Wins. I mean, life is good, man. It's personal life's great. My business is flourishing and doing well. Picked up a bunch of new clients. Struggles, hiring. That's always my problem. I'm having a heck of a time trying to find people that are qualified, and it is destroying me just because I work myself to death because of it. But if I could find some good help, life would be great. Other than that, I have no complaints.
Awesome. Well, congrats. It's good stuff. And I guess being busy and growing your business when that's a struggle is also a good thing as well. So
For sure. Thank you.
You got it, my man. All right. I don't know who it is. It's S Gun.
Sean.
Sean. Winner or struggle, buddy, if you could hear me.
Muted.
Crushing day in and day out. Focus on the struggles. I don't focus on yesterday. I don't focus on what's in front of me every single day. So it's just every day a win. I woke up today, get after it. I don't waste time. So that's my win.
Thank you, my man. Appreciate it, Sean. All right. So did I miss anybody? Chase, Travis, do you guys want to jump in? Are you good? All right. So I started to mention, I work with Travis's son in my young group for young men. I'll give you like a quick background, and then I'm going to jump into something that you can take away from this. I'll give you a couple actionable things that will work right away. It'll be like a half hour of just stuff that you will take and be like, wow, that was a big deal. It's going to change the way that I'm thinking here. So I grew up with an abusive father, and during that time, I questioned everything about what it meant to be a man. And I thought I was the only one going through it at the time. Since then, I've realized it's not that foreign of a topic for a lot of men out there and women out there. And I have 3 siblings, and I wound up being their father figure, raising them. I'm older than all my siblings, so I took on the role, kind of boxed my father out of the way so they would have some type of a role model in their life. And when I went to school, I majored in education, and I did a secondary major in sociology. So I was really fascinated with how group dynamics work. And so I did this whole course around, learning as much as I can about groups and how to build community with groups. And then I did this internship, and the internship was it was at a halfway home for at-risk boys. And the boys were there because the court said they needed to be off the streets after school. So they were physically or sexually abused, or they had done something wrong and they were arrested. And so this group of boys, I started to work at this halfway home for them. And then I became a van driver. So I was going there as an intern, watching them, counseling them in group and individual sessions, learning a lot about how to help people going through something challenging. And then they hired me as a van driver. So now I'm going to college, I'm picking up these kids after a full day of school, and I'm driving them to this halfway home. And then I take them home, and I'm a 21-year-old kid taking these kids home, and I start to connect with them and talk to them. And if you have kids of your own, you know that you learn a lot about your kids on a car ride. You learn a lot about your kids when you're driving somewhere, the music on, they start to tell you certain things. Well, this group of kids started to really open up to me, so much so that they wanted me to take the long way home. And they were telling me stuff that they weren't talking to clinical social workers and counselors and therapists about. And I recognized, like, all right, I want to do this with my life in some capacity. I want to do something to help out people, especially these young men that were struggling. So I taught for a couple of years. I became an administrator. I went back and got my master's, became an administrator. And all I wanted to do was help people that were struggling. And I started to talk to the boys in a group where I started in this as an assistant principal. It was a job in the town where I live. And the group of boys that I was working with, I was asking them, tell me about what it means to be a man. And no one had ever asked them that question before. What does it mean to be a man? And this is going back to 2005, I would say. And what the boys told me were things that I heard from my father. And if you're a guy, or even like women might have heard men say this as well. So what the boys were telling me was, to be a man, you got to be like athletically dominant. You need to be bigger, faster, stronger. You got to have the six pack. You got to be able to bench more weight. You got to be able to kick people's asses. Like, that was the thing. Physical dominance was the first thing. Then the boys were telling me it's about how many girls you bang, or how hot are the girls you're banging. So it was sexual conquest. These are teenage boys opening up to me, telling me, to be a good man, you got to bang the most girls. And then they told me it's about the stuff. It's about like accumulation of the material things. So the car, the house, the money. So they thought a man was bigger, faster, stronger, banging more girls and making more money. And I said, hey guys, if that's what you're basing your manhood around, and something is taken away from you, where are you left? What are you left with? So what if we based our masculinity, what it means to be a man, about accountability, around authenticity, humility, service to other people, self-discipline. What can you do to help another person's life be a little bit easier because you were here on this planet? So it started to change a little bit. And all of a sudden, the boys started to lean into conversations. And in 1 year of them being a part of this group, the suspension rate in the school dropped like 75%. The kids were coming to school. They were learning. They wanted to connect and communicate. And what I recognized was a lot of these boys had three things in common, as far as like the things that were preventing them from being successful. And the three things I would argue are things that we all have in common. One of these three things, if there's something getting in your way, and this is where I'll start, and I'll give you a couple pieces of information that will help you. The first is resistance. Something is really hard in front of you. So there's this three-headed monster that exists in front of all of us. And the first head of the three-headed monster is resistance. We don't want to do the hard thing. So for young men growing up, that was the first thing that I would tell them. You got to be able to fight that resistance, whatever it is. The second is distraction. And I'll tell you, boys, they're connected to their phones, connected to their video games, watching pornography. So being distracted was the second thing, was that second piece of the three-headed monster. And the third piece, which I felt was the most powerful of all of them, the biggest piece that we had to fight against, was the idea of victimhood. It's someone else's fault that we're going through this situation. It's my dad's fault. It's the boss's fault. It's my coach's fault. It's a teacher's fault. It's that son of a bitch's fault who left me. It's everyone else's fault. And what I started to do is say, listen, what we need to do is take radical responsibility. While those things might not be your fault, they're 100% your responsibility. And then I'll take it a step further. That's your privilege. So now it's your privilege to overcome what's in front of you right now. And once I was able to get them to that point, I started to say, the biggest critic that you have is the person that's inside of your head talking to you. So what can you do to change the way that you talk to yourself? And Desiree, I mentioned before when you said the Toastmasters thing, what I'm going to ask you to do is think about things in a little bit of a different perspective right now. So what you're going to need for this right now is something to write with. We're going to call this your magic wand for today. And then a piece of paper, notebook, a journal. I'm sure we have something like that to write things down with, because I'm going to ask you to go through a couple exercises. And you go through these exercises, and Travis, Chase, I'll ask you guys to do the same thing as well. It's really
Well
powerful.
done.
All right, so first I'm going to share my, Travis, can you let me share my screen?
Yeah. Did you ask for it?
It just says host disabled participant screen sharing. Do I have to say pretty please?
Let's try this.
There.
No.
So under share screen, it should say allow multiple participants to share at once when you go to share screen.
Try it now.
All right, Butter, here we go. All right. So when you hear the word abracadabra, right? When we hear that word, the first thing that we think about is what? Call it out.
Magic.
Magic. We think of magic. We think of magic wands. We think of Harry Potter. We think of a million different things. Abracadabra, literally translated from ancient Aramaic, literally means with my words I create. With my words I create. So powerful. So that'll be the title of what I'm going to talk to you about. The word spell, when we think of spell, you also think of magic. I'm going to cast a spell on you. I mean, my kids were huge Harry Potter fans. So we knew all the spells. My kids knew all of them. But a spell is a word or a combination of words that have great influence. When you think of magic, think about that. Like, you have this magic within you. Like, I have the ability to influence not only the thoughts that I have, but how I perceive the entire world with the words that I use when I talk to myself. So first thing you notice when you look at this screen, what's the first thing that pops out at you? Shout it out.
Nine times 10 is not 91.
Yeah.
First thing we all recognize. So the first thing we all see. 9 times.
Everybody knows it's 92.
It's 92 and a hook. So our minds are drawn to the thing that doesn't fit. Our minds are drawn to the negativity. Always. Like, that's the first thing that we see. Think about yourself if you ever, you get a review from a supervisor. There's 32 great things. The one thing that they say something off, your mind is drawn to that immediately and you focus in on the negative. Why do our minds do that? Our minds are so focused in on the negative thing. There was a study done that we have something around 60,000 thoughts every single day. Imagine that, 60,000 thoughts. Not all of those thoughts we're cognizant of. Not all of those thoughts, we're not like sitting here and they all filter into our minds. But of those 60,000 thoughts, 90% of those 60,000 thoughts are repetitive. We're hearing those thoughts in our head over and over and over again. And of those, 90% are negative. So we have 60,000 thoughts, 90% are repetitive, 90% are negative. So most of the thoughts that we're having, we're hearing them rattle around in our head over and over and over again, and they're negative thoughts. And so that's why we always see the negative thing that's happening, because our minds are conditioned to look for those negative things as well. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to play you a quick video. So I'm going to set up this video. The video is it's called The Monkey Business Illusion. So the video was done. It's a YouTube video, and it was a study done by a guy named Daniel Simmons. What I'm going to ask you to do when you watch this video is I'm going to ask you to, there's going to be 2 teams that are passing a basketball back and forth to one another. So there's 3 girls on one team wearing white shirts, 3 girls on another team wearing black shirts. I'm going to ask you to focus in on the team wearing the white shirts, focus in on them, and I'm going to ask you to count how many times the ball is passed back and forth to one another. So really key on the team wearing white and count how many times the ball is passed back and forth between the team wearing white. Here we go. All right, let me pause it right there. Let me stop my share. All right, if you think you know how many times the ball was passed back and forth, raise your hand if you think you have it. I think you got it. Matt, you think you have it?
Passes.
How many?
Like I have a girl named Carrie who does $20 every time she sees me. Vanessa was doing that for a long while. And they only meet one time a week. So I mean, it adds up.
Oh, man.
$80.
There you go.
Anybody have the number of passes? What do we think?
I put 16.
I thought
I put-
16.
I saw 12.
12. So I'll go in and I'll do this in front of a group of like 1,000 seventh graders. And I say, how many times is the ball passed back and forth? And I have them raise their hand. How many thinks it was 12? You have some kids raising their hand, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then I say, did you see the gorilla?
Yes.
How many people saw the gorilla? Raise your hand. All right.
No.
Did you see the curtain? Did you see
Yes.
the player in black walking off the court?
Yes.
All right, so what
No.
I'm going to do this time is watch for a couple more things. So when I do this, about half the people see a big gorilla walking in to the center of the court, bangs his chest, and then walks off. About a quarter of the people see that the curtain starts what color? Red. What color does it end?
I saw red.
Okay. Well, the curtain starts bright red, and at the end, the curtain is yellow. I kid you not. And it's not subtle. And people are like, no, BS, there's no way. No, I swear to you, it does. It changes color. And how many players were on the black team?
3.
Three.
3.
At the end, one of them is not there. There's only 2. So when the gorilla walks in, a girl on the black team leaves. And it's obvious if you're looking for it. This time, what I want you to do is watch the video and look for a gorilla, look for the curtain, and watch the players in black. All right, so I'm going to ask you to do those 3 things, and I'm going to say the experience is going to be a little bit different this time when you're looking for those things. Wait, hold on.
Are we counting passes?
You got the passes right. It was 16 passes. That's how many we had. It was 16 total. All right, where is the video now? Hold on. Can you see the video?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Oh, it is yellow.
Count how many times the players wearing white pass the ball.
Curtain's red. So watch a girl in black on the end. Ready? She's gonna leave, and there comes a gorilla.
Mm.
Yeah.
And look at the curtain. All right, so I'm gonna stop my screen share now. Why? Why is that? Why didn't we see that the first time? All that. It was super obvious. All that was really obvious. Like if it's all there, right? Why didn't we see it the first time?
Your eyes
you
are on that ball.
Yeah, your focus is elsewhere.
You focus on.
Your mind's a filter.
So
Yeah.
what we focus on, we're going to see.
Yeah.
What you focus on, you will see. If I asked you to focus on the players in black and just watch them the whole time, you would have seen the girl leaving. If I would have said, focus on the curtain changing color, you would absolutely see it. And if I said, focus on a gorilla walking in, you would definitely see it. But only half the kids, when I show that in a presentation to a school, see the gorilla. So what we focus on, we will see. When you're talking to yourself, we focus so single-handedly on the negative things. We're like, I don't look good enough. I'm not making enough money. The clients aren't going to do this. We're focusing on the negative things. And when we focus on those negative things, we're going to see them every single time. So what I'm going to ask you to do is start shifting your mindset a little bit to start seeing the positive thing. What if we start focusing on the positive things? I guarantee you, you will see them. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back into that PowerPoint. I'm going to ask you to take a look at a couple different things here. And this is when I ask you to write some things down, because to me, these were some game-changing things. Oh, hold on. So I talked before about that three-headed monster, and with a three-headed monster, victimhood, I think, is the biggest monster of them all. And so the victim mentality is the acquired personality trait where we tend to regard ourselves as the victim of the negative actions of other people, even if there's no clear evidence. And this is a habitual thought process. Like, it's a habitual thing that happens over and over and over again. All right, so here's our first assignment. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Write down this statement. How can I ever get over this? How can I ever get over this? All right, I'm going to quickly go around. I just want you to tell me the one word you think of. What's the feeling that you have when you say, how can I ever get over this? Scott, what's the feeling that's associated with that statement? How can I ever get over this?
You've already, you're self-damning. You've already given up.
Brandon, what's the word you think of? How can I ever get over this? I'll come back to you, Brandon. Michael, what's the word you think of? How can I ever get over this?
Sabotage.
Sean, what's the word you think of?
Bullshit.
Bullshit. All right, here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to share my screen again. All I'm going to do is change one little thing. That's it. So what I want us to do is underneath there, write this. How can I ever get over this? How can I get over this? Not how can I get over this? We're going to take out the word ever. How can I get over this? Write that. How can I get over this? Travis, was there a difference?
Yeah.
What was the difference to you?
The way that it felt.
Blair, when you wrote it the second time, what was the feeling associated with it after you took out the word ever?
Like relief.
Okay. Isn't it amazing? One word.
Yeah.
Look up the word ever. One word, it has a totally different feeling. When you say, how can I ever get over this? It's doom and gloom, it's despair. How can I get over this? There's the potential for a plan. I'm not saying we're like gung-ho in it, but there's a potential for a plan there, but just by changing one word. All right, what if we keep going with this? What if we said this? I can get over this. Now it's a statement. Write that. Desiree, was there a difference when you wrote it the third time? What was the difference?
I think it was like hope, like I'll be able to do this.
So from the beginning, like the transformation that happens from a couple little words, abracadabra, with my words I create. So what if we start talking to ourselves a little bit differently? What if we change the way that we're speaking to ourselves? If you were to write down how you speak to yourself, you'd read it and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm talking to myself this way. I can't believe I'm looking at all these negative things. So that's our challenge. We're going to use our magic wand here, our pencil, our paper, and we're going to do a couple more things with this now. And then the last thing, I love this, whatever it is, I am over this. I am over this. Whatever it is, I have climbed this mountain. I have persevered. I am a resilient MFer. Like I am on the other side of whatever that was right there. So that's one thing. And here's like if you know people use this with them, people that are having that negative self-talk, have them go through this process. It's a game changer when you start to see the words you use when you talk to yourself. What if the good shit? Ever notice how many people what if the bad shit? Right in the beginning, Desiree, I said to you, when you're like, well, I'm not really that good of a public speaker. Well, if you are looking for reasons why you're not a good public speaker, you're going to find them. But what if the good shit? What if you're like, no, I am doing Toastmasters right now. God damn it, I'm getting up in front of a crowd of people. That is really powerful stuff that you're doing right there. So when you look for the positive stuff, you're going to find it. So this is something what I want you to do. What if the bad shit right now? Write down something that you're worried about. What if fill in the blank there? What if I can't find a new employee? What if I, mess up the speech? What if my daughter shits on the floor when I'm trying to bake cookies? Whatever it is. What if the bad shit first? So write down your what if the bad shit first. So I have a couple things that I wrote down. What if everything goes to hell? What if I don't get my project done on time? What if he gets angry at me because of that? What if I get sick? What if, and then fill in that mental monster of your choice. So here's what happens in our life. When we're looking for the team in white passing the basketball back and forth to one another, if we're looking for the bad shit, we will find it every single time. If I want to look for why my ass doesn't look good in these jeans, I'm going to turn around and find it, right? But if I'm like, you know what? I'm proud of myself. I'm getting up every morning. I'm going to the gym. Like, I will find ways to see the good stuff. So when you wrote down what if the bad shit, how did that feel when you wrote down the bad shit? Shad, what do you got for me? How did it feel when you wrote down what if the bad shit?
Makes me, it just, you feel almost angry.
And I apologize, I forgot you were driving the car. It's probably not the safest thing to be writing stuff down.
I know, I'm trying to do as much as possible, but.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Hey, Matt, were you able to what if the bad shit?
So, man, I had it in my head. I didn't write it down because I was also driving.
So when you think about the bad shit, what's the feeling associated with that?
So mine was, what if I put out the wrong information, like content creation and whatnot? It was proving imposter syndrome right.
Oh, that's such a bitch, right? That imposter syndrome. We all go through it too, Matt. I appreciate you sharing that, man. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, whatever that bad shit was, what if you switched it around? What if the good shit? What if you came up with the best case scenarios for every single one of those things? What if I kill it in Toastmasters? What if I hire the most qualified employee who's ready to roll on day one? What if my daughter sleeps through the night and I'm able to bake 9 dozen cookies first thing in the morning? What if that happens? Because when we start what ifing the good shit, if we start looking for those things, all of a sudden we start to see the gorilla walking in, the curtain changing color from red to yellow. We start to see those things. So what I'm going to ask you to do right now is underneath that, what if the good shit? What if your content creation comes out perfectly and there's no more imposter syndrome because you're that motherfucker who's doing the right shit? Like, you're out there inspiring people. Your business is about to thrive. You're ready to take the next step. So write down, what if the good shit? What if all of that works out perfectly? So for me, what if I get it done in time with time to spare? What if he's thrilled instead of angry? What if I remain healthy? What if I get even healthier in the future because of my habits? So underneath, you just did what if the bad shit? What if the good shit? Write that down now.
I already did that the first time. I didn't know that's down.
Hey, Matt, what's the feeling associated with what if the good shit now?
Mine was, what if my content resonates with a lot of people and answers their questions?
So how does that feel?
That's pretty good. It's like it's a matter of time type feel.
See you later.
Absolutely. Time is just waiting to catch up with that content. Michael, what did you have the first time?
What if I'm not able to follow through with my fitness goals?
Okay. And then you turned it into what?
What if I do eat right? What if I do get that 6-pack? what if I continue working hard?
Which one feels better?
I mean, they all kind of resonate really well, but that six pack sounds real nice.
Not a six pack of Coors Light, a six pack in your stomach, right? So, but when you what if the good shit, the feeling associated with it, you start attracting more feelings that's going to bring you closer to that goal. We are in control of it. Like you have the ability to do it. That's why it's when I said abracadabra, with my words I create, you have the ability to start seeing these things. Now there's going to be that three-headed monster. It's going to rear its ugly head all the time. There's going to be resistance, there's going to be distraction, and there's going to be victimhood. That will always be there. But you are stronger than those are powerful. You are stronger than the resistance, you are stronger than the distraction, and you are stronger than the victimhood that exists in front of you as well. All right, so now I'm going to do something we're going to talk about. It's called pressure language. Because this is a
business illusion.
Well, hold on one second.
Count how many times the players were.
We're going to talk about pressure language. And this is something I feel like this is something that I struggle with from time to time. This is like my mental monster. So I'm going to ask you to write these things down and fill in the blank. Things that you feel pressure to do. This is another way, the way that you think about it, what you decide to look at. So write down these three statements. I've got to, I have to, and I need to. Write down those three statements and then fill in the blank, whatever that thing is. I've got to, I have to, and I need to. I do have a volunteer to process through this one with me. I got to, I have to, I need to. Anyone want to process through this one with me? Brandon, what were your three? You're muted, Brandon.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm currently in college right now, so that's what I did for mine. I said I've got to do my homework. I have to do my homework. I need to do my homework.
Okay, so use the same one for all three. Gotcha. All right. So I'm going to come back to you, Brandon. We're going to process this through. So you'll be the first one that I go to next time. So it's yours was about homework. I've got to, I have to, I need to. So you're feeling like it's not, there's a pressure associated with that. So what's a feeling that you're feeling when you read those three statements out?
Well, they feel a little bit different. Each of them do.
Okay.
The I've got to feels more like a chore, something that I dread. And the I need to seems more of like something that is beneficial for me.
Okay.
So it gives me more of a motivation to want to do it.
Okay. I appreciate that. So we'll come back and I'll ask you to, we're going to change it up a little bit and I'll come back to you in a second, Brandon. Does anyone else want to process through these three statements with me?
I will.
All right, Blair, what do you got?
I've got to get sleep. I have to make cookie dough and I need to be a nicer mom.
Okay. How does that feel when you say those three statements, Blair?
A lot of, I don't know. I guess I feel a lot of weight on all of them.
It's like the feeling where someone's pressing up against your chest.
Yes.
That's how I feel it. And when I'm working through with a client, I'm always like, how does it feel on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 is like horrible, and 1 is it's fine. And then where do you feel it? Because that's a big deal. Like when you figure out where you're feeling the stress, some of us feel it in our heads. We get that like tightening by our temples. Other of us feel it in our chest, like you feel like someone's pressing on our chest. Others feel it in our stomach. Like when you're feeling that feeling, whatever that feeling is, you know what that feels like. So I always ask people, like, where are you feeling it, right? All right, so now what I'm going to ask you to do, I'm going to share my screen. So whatever you put for your I've got to, I have to, I need to, I'm going to ask you to switch it slightly here, like I've been doing before, because these words that we're using are magic, right? With my words, I create. What if we created a different path by changing a couple words with this? So change the 3 to I get to. Change the 3 statements that you just wrote down to I get to.
I knew that was coming.
I need. All right, Brandon, read them out to me again.
Okay, yeah, switched the other two. I want them all the same. So I put I get to do my homework. And the second one I put work instead of I have to go to work, I get to go to work. And on the last one, I need to exercise every day. I get to exercise every day.
How does that feel?
It feels much better.
Oh, it's
Feels
amazing.
like yeah.
Even just the homework, like that resonates with me when there's something that you feel the pressure to do. But then if you look at it, I get to do homework because that homework, one, the feeling associated with completing the task, whatever the task is in front of you, that resistance that exists, once you complete the task, the feeling associated was really good. I accomplished something that was in front of me. I learned something by doing this. So I get to do my homework. Now I accomplished something. I get to go to work to make some money. I get to go to the gym because I'm going to train. My body's going to be more physically fit because I get to do these things.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Blair, walk us through those 3 things now. Talk to us about it.
You want me to read them again?
I want you to read them again, but change the word.
Okay, I get to sleep. I get to make cookie dough. I get to be a nicer mom.
All right, so how does that feel now after you read those, Blair?
It feels better.
Pick one that feels the best. Which one?
I get to be a nicer mom because I feel like I've not been a nice mom lately.
So how can you speak to yourself a little bit different now, Blair?
What?
How can you speak to yourself a little bit different? Like, is there something that you can, it's the way that you're speaking to yourself, can it change a little bit now?
Yes.
So you are a nice mom.
Yes, I am.
You are a good mom. I'm watching you right now. I'm watching you be a good mom. I'm watching you care for your daughter and love her. And I'm watching this happen in front of me. You are a good mom. I would love to wake up and bake cookies tomorrow morning. I know that's what you're doing, but I would love to do that. Where are you? I'd come work for you for free tomorrow. Where are you located?
I'm in California. You could come down here.
Right now I'm in Delaware. It's like on the other side of the country right now.
Oh yeah.
But when I'm out there, I'm gonna hit you up.
Okay.
All right. So what I'm gonna ask us to do right now is there's gonna be one more thing, and then I'm gonna ask us, like, as a little, I don't know if we ever get homework in this group, but I'm gonna give you a piece of homework to do at the end, just over the next 2 weeks. So this is the victimhood piece. So what I'm going to do is ask you to write down 3 can't believe statements. Can't believe statements. Pick out he, she, they, them, whoever, like, pick out 3 people that you cannot believe that they did something. I can't believe he came to this meeting late again. I can't believe she showed up drunk for the 3rd time this week. I can't believe he missed the coaching session, whatever it is. Write down 3 statements, I can't believe, and then blank. All right, does anyone want to process through this one with me?
Can't believe she. Can't believe she.
Chase, did you write anything down there?
I got through a couple.
Can you mind reading 1 or 2 out for me?
Just so one related to work. I can't believe my my assistant my processor didn't get the work done today. Didn't get the file disclosed.
Okay, you can't believe the processor didn't get the work done today.
Yep.
So let me ask you a question. How does that feel when you say that?
So it doesn't feel good because that's my reputation on the line. So it gives me high anxiety. And it makes me angry, very angry.
Anyone else process through a can't believe statement? This is one of my favorite ones to do with clients, is to go through this one once we switch it around a little bit. So Chase, let me ask you something. Did she process through the work today? Did she do it?
She worked on the file, yeah.
But did she get it done?
No.
Okay. So she didn't get it done. So that's a fact that it was not done.
Correct.
So because it's a fact that she didn't get it done, can you believe that she didn't get it done?
Yes, it is a fact. I now believe.
So now what I want us to do is underneath there, after you wrote, I can't believe he, I can't believe she, I can't believe they, but I'm going to ask you to change it. I can believe that they came to the meeting late again. I can believe that she said that. I can believe that they were rude. So change it. So I can believe that happened. And so Chase, when you did that, I noticed you started laughing right away, right? Like, tell me why.
Well, I started because it just I hadn't gone there in my head, and as soon as you said, "Oh, it's a fact," I'm like, "Yeah,
it is a fact.
I can totally believe that she didn't do that."
And it's funny that you say that Chase, because here we go. The next step. I can totally believe that she didn't do it, because she didn't do it. So you can totally believe it. So once we can get to this point, so when we think about like staying in this space in our heads and our emotions and our heart, when someone else didn't come through and we are stuck in the spot, I can't believe this happened again. I can't believe they did this shit. I can't. It puts us in this like perpetual state of like we're spinning around because someone else did something that or didn't do something that really bothers us, and we can stay stuck in this like cycle and get it can totally mess with our heads. But if we change it around a little bit, knowing that whatever it is, it happened. It once we can say to ourselves like, I can't believe that she didn't show up again. Well, did she show up? No. Did it happen again? Yeah. So can you believe it? Yes. I can totally believe that she didn't show up again. It releases you from that space where someone else is in charge of what's going on. It's a very, very liberating experience to go through that. But what it takes is like to actually process through and write this stuff down. I'm sure that Travis and Chase have talked to you guys about it a lot, where it's really important to write stuff down every single day. Like it's one of the magic formulas. And I work with kids all over the country. And one of the first things I tell them is it's not cool to like have a diary or a journal. It's one of the most important things you can do. Because what happens is with human beings, all of those things get stuck in our heads. All of the negative things that we're thinking, why we're not going to find a good employee, why we're a bad mom, why we're going to fuck up at Toastmasters, why we're not going to get a six-pack. They get stuck in our head and they just circle around and around again. I mentioned before, we have this 60,000 thoughts every single day. Most are repetitive, most are negative. But what happens if we take those thoughts and we get them out of our head and we write them down, everything that we're thinking? Then we read through them. Let's read through what we're thinking and let's start picking out the spots in what we're writing. Is there a way that I can switch my language a little bit when I'm talking to myself? So instead of saying, what if this doesn't go right? Well, what if it does go right? I can't believe this happened. I can totally believe that this happened. I can't, how am I ever going to get over this? I'm going to get over this. And if we could switch how we're speaking to ourselves and then write down those thoughts of how we're speaking to ourselves, now we're going to start to see that stuff out in the world. It's called our reticular activating system. I did this challenge with my daughters. And I told them, after I went through this process with them, my daughters are 15 and 13 years old. And I told them about the invisible monkey, and I went through this whole thing with them. And I told them both, I said, pick out a car. And I said, I guarantee that you're going to see that car on the road in the next week or two. Pick out any car. It doesn't matter what it is. My one daughter picks out a green Kia Soul. I don't know if you've ever seen a green Kia Soul. It's a really ugly car. I mean, if you own a Kia Soul, I'm sorry about what I just said right there. It's just, it's not a nice, to me, it's not a nice looking car. I think it's it's like a box. It's like the car, there was like the commercial where there were like hamsters driving around in the beats. That's a Kia Soul. So she goes, Dad, the car I want to see is a green Kia Soul. I shit you not, within 24 hours, we saw like 3 green Kia Souls. I never saw them before. I didn't know what kind of car it was, but because I was looking for it, I started to see them all over the place. And now what we do is we take pictures of us in front of green Kia Souls whenever we see them, because that's a reminder to ourselves about what you look for, you see. What you look for, you will find. So pick out a car, whatever that car is, and you'll see it on the road over the next 2 weeks. You will be focused in on it because your mind is telling you, it's important to me. I'm going to find evidence of whatever that is. The same thing happens with what you're talking to yourself with. If you're going to find evidence, and for Matt, you want to find evidence that you're going to influence people, start to look for reasons why that's true. And instead of the imposter syndrome, you'll replace that with, I'm going to be the man up on the stage talking to 100,000 people, inspiring them in the future. And you'll start to see evidence of absolutely going to happen. So the homework that I'm going to say to you guys, do it or not, it's totally up to you. But I call this my corner man story. And so think about Rocky, right? Think about Rocky Balboa, the Italian stallion. He had Mick in his corner, right? And Mick was the guy that, would talk him through the tough stuff. He would inspire him. And he was the guy that was saying, get up, you son of a bitch, because Mickey loves you. He was that guy as well. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about your corner man. Who's the guy in your corner that when you're down on the ground, when things are tough, what is the corner man saying to you? What are the words that the corner man uses to inspire you to get up off the canvas, to get up and go one more round with Apollo Creed, because you're about to be the world champion? What's the words that corner man is saying to you? Write them down. Read them out to yourself. Read them out to yourself every single day. And what's going to happen, I promise you this, is once you do that, you will see evidence of that in every single thing you do. And your world will change by changing the way that you speak to yourself. So I call this abracadabra with my words I create. I promise you, if you do this, you will see a huge difference in your life. Start tomorrow. Start as soon as you get off this call. Let Travis know. Travis, you could share my contact information with everybody. Let me know how it's going, because I'd love to hear how this is working for you and if this is working for you. And I know it will. So I appreciate you giving me the last hour. This was a great time. Travis, I love you, man. I really appreciate everything that you've done connecting with people. And, if there's ever anything I could do to support you guys in the future, I'm always here.
Man, incredible. I don't know if I've taken 3 pages of notes in quite some time. So I'm grateful for it. Does anybody have anything that they want Dennis to unpack with them or for them?
I do real quick, actually, before, I hate to jump in here, but I want to take advantage while I've got it. So obviously we've talked about a lot of positive self-talk here, and in a conversation that Travis and Parker and I were having earlier today. So for someone that it's the negative self-talk is so ingrained in them, and that it is tied to their self-worth, what would you suggest, Dennis, as a first step to overcome that? Someone that doesn't believe that positive self-affirmation is something that actually changes lives.
So when I work with a client on this, Chase, I appreciate the question is, so what I'll do is I'll talk about a difficult situation recently. All right, tell me about something that's going on recently. And have them process through whatever that is recently that they're going through. And so they'll talk about it. Well, I went for this job. I didn't get the job. I was really pissed off. And, this is how I felt the last time that you were really angry about something or whatever the emotion is. And I would say, okay, scale of 1 to 10, where does that emotion sit with you? It was a 7. Where do you feel it? Tell me where you feel that emotion, whatever that despair feeling is, or that victim feeling, or I'm really angry or pissed off, whatever the emotion is, where do you feel it? And then they tell me, I feel it in my chest. I feel it in my stomach. I feel it in my head. And then I say this, all right, when was the first time you remember feeling that? Walk me back a little bit in your life. When was the first time you remember feeling that? And they're like, well, I was, I don't know, 12 years old. And, My dad locked me in the trunk of the car for 2 hours. All right, well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna write that out. We're gonna take that story. What I want you to do is I want you to label it, trunk of car, or, trunk story or whatever. And then I want you to write, like you're writing I'm gonna go watch this in the movie theater and I'm gonna write what this story was. And so I'll have them write down exactly what happened in that story, in that situation. And so usually when that happens, it elicits a lot of emotion, because if people are getting stuck, there's a reason why. I just put something up. I don't know. It's probably not up in the story anymore, but it was like, something exists that we never were able to process through. And a lot of times it's called adverse childhood experiences, something that happens to us between the ages of 0 and 18. And we all have the stuff that's happened to us that we weren't able to really fully process through at the time, that it manifests itself and it comes out in our perception and our persona as adults. So when I work with someone, they're like, nope, I'm not doing bullshit. There's going to be some block that's in the way. So I'll have them write through that story, Chase. And when they write through the story, it's typically pretty emotional when they write through, and they have them read it out. So they read through the story, and typically they get a little bit choked up as they're going through the story when they're locked in the trunk of the car. And that's something that I've actually heard before. Or their parents got divorced, or their uncle died, or whatever it is, right? And so after they process through the story, I'm like, okay, how does that feel right now? Like, what does that feel like when you're going through that? And they go through and they talk. It feels like on a scale of 1 to 10, that's a 9. Where are you feeling? I feel it in my chest. All right, now here's what we're going to do. What I want you to do is I want you to read through that story slower. So we're going to read through it at like 70% speed. And they go through the same exact story and they read through it slower. And it's a different emotion associated with, because they're able to get some space from the story. Now they are not trapped in that story. Now it is something that happened to them and it doesn't define who they are. And then the third step that I'll do, and this is where it gets really powerful, is I break down the story and I go through every statement, and I'll have them actually write it out in like a Google Doc or something. And I like space down and I write the word breathe. So it would sound like this the first time. When I was 12 years old, my dad smacked me in the face. He threw me in the trunk of the car. I was scared. I was lonely. I cried. I pissed myself. That was the worst thing that ever happened to me. And the first time I tell the story, I get really, really emotional. And then I have them slow it down. I was 12 years old. My dad locked me in the trunk of the car. I was really scared. I pissed myself. I cried. So I slow it down a little bit. And then the third time, it sounds like this. When I was 12 years old, my dad locked me in the trunk of the car. So I'm processing through everything that's going on. And what I'm doing is I'm separating myself from that story. So I am no longer that little kid. That is something that happened to me, and I could see it as a different experience. Once people go through that, when they go through that and they're able to breathe through it, the emotion that they're feeling, it goes from a 10 down to like a 3. Now they're like, wow, I am not a 12-year-old kid anymore. I'm not the victim of this. Was my father an asshole? Absolutely. But that's not me anymore. I was there. I experienced it. That was something that I experienced, but I am not that person anymore. It's a really powerful thing to see. I mean, typically it takes me a while to build up that rapport with someone to actually go through that process.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how I would process through something like that. I appreciate the question, Chase.
Thank you. More than I could have imagined. Thanks, Dennis.
Man, that was incredible. That's good. I took all those notes. Anybody else? Blair, do you have anything on your mind, hon?
Oh, there's a lot of things brewing through my mind right now, because I text Travis. I was like, there's no coincidence that you're talking to us today, because sorry.
Don't be sorry.
I know, but I hate crying in front of all you guys. I feel like I do it every week. But
I cry in front of Dennis all the time.
I just I have a lot of negative thoughts going on in my life right now, and her dad not being in the picture, I think, stems a lot of my emotions right now, because it just makes me so mad that, anyways, he's just an asshole, and I'm trying to process through that, and I think taking on the role of being like mom and business owner, and like I give everything to her and I don't ever, and to everything else, I don't get it like in return. And so I will seek him out for that, but he's a negative person in my life and all he cares about is himself and drinking and all that kind of stuff. And like when we did that, I can't believe he keeps drinking every time, and like he won't show up to be there for his child, and it makes me very mad. Like I mean, I talked to Travis about this a little while ago, and it's just like I have to get over it. And I feel like I'm at a place where I can do that because I've seen again that he's not making that change. And so it's time for me to just move on from it for her because she doesn't deserve it. And so I need this, like what you've just done. Cause like I negative, like the middle of the night when she's awake, it's just like, I hate her right now. I'm a terrible mom. My parents should be the ones raising her because I'm not worthy enough to do this. But I know I am. And I love her.
I appreciate that. I mean, and don't apologize for the emotions. Here's the thing. I truly believe like you might impress people with your successes, but you connect with people through your struggles. And what you're doing is you're making this mess that you're perceiving into a message that will help other people. It's a really powerful thing that you just said right there. And something that I heard is you have to ... You get to do these things. It's Blair, it's not easy work. I will tell you that right up front, but you are here right now. Like you're raising a child on your own. You are here, you're working through these things. You're going to be up tomorrow morning baking cookies, but you are here. Like that's evidence that you are 100% progressing.
Yeah.
And these things, like this won't be forever, the things that you're going through right now. And you have this beautiful child who has a mom who is dedicated to personal growth. There's a lot of kids out there that don't have that.
Yeah.
Look for evidence of those things, Blair, and you're going to find them in the future. I appreciate you saying that. I really, really do.
Yeah. Well, thanks for doing this. I mean, there's just no coincidence of you being on right now because like it's definitely helping me. So I feel like this whole group has honestly helped me to grow and to kind of, I think, see into myself a little bit more to help. I know I need to fix this in order for my business to like progress where it needs to go and
You are
stuff.
fixing it. You are, first of all, you're not broken. You are not broken.
Yeah.
And you don't have to, you don't need to. You are working diligently to improve, as we all are, and that's part of the process here.
Yeah, thank you.
It took a lot of courage to be that, transparent about everything that was going on and authentic. So thank you. That took a lot of courage there.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Anybody else want to chime in before we all go?
I got something.
Yeah, please.
How do we catch ourselves before, like when we're in the heat of the moment and things are happening? It's hard to stop when you've been programmed so long to be negative. Like I understand, like after you go through the process, like whatever conversation or whatever's happening at the time, you can go back and reflect on it and then change, how you felt and all that. But how do we do that right off the bat?
So great question, Michael. I appreciate that. What I will tell people to do is what you look at, you will focus on and you will see. So whatever the thing is that is getting in your way, I want to look at that. I'll give you an example. One thing that my son is 18 years old. One thing that I worked on with him was I call it soft talk. And soft talk is using words like maybe, kinda, probably, might, sorta, and it means nothing, right? If you're like, I'm like, hey, can you pick up your sister? Maybe, I probably should be able to. Bullshit, what does that mean? Can I trust that you're going to be there? Will you be there to pick up your sister after practice? Yes or no? Like, none of the soft talk. So what I had him do was write down the words. Maybe, kinda, sorta, might, probably, I'll try, I should. And I would say, see yourself saying these words. So I would have them put them up on the refrigerator, put them in the bathroom mirror. So when you're focusing on something, you'll see it. So whatever the thing is, Michael, that you feel like is getting in your way, write down the antithesis of that. So if it's you're constantly saying like the negative self-talk, what's the positive thing that you want to say? Like physically write it down and post that shit up, and then start to look for those things. What will start to happen? It's not an overnight thing. Like I believe slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Yeah, it seems like you guys have heard that before. It's not an overnight thing, but it's that 1%, like you get that 1% better and you'll start to catch it. And all of a sudden it's 5% and then it's 10%. And all of a sudden it's 25, 50%. And you're like, now you're in a different world. So write it down, post it up, look for it. Like be really, really cognizant of looking for it. And don't beat yourself up if you say a negative thing tomorrow. Habits are not easy to break like that. But what it does is it takes consistent effort and the self-discipline, and you need to look for it and see it that way.
Okay. Thank you.
You got it, my man.
Woo. Man, good stuff, D. Good stuff. Great stuff. Anybody else have anything before we let Dennis go? I'm grateful for you, brother.
This is awesome.
All right.
I really appreciate it. Hey guys, it was 2 weeks ago. I was out doing a workshop in Minneapolis, and I was driving back, and I saw David and Travis were on the same thing together. I was like, I just got to jump in here. I appreciated the way this group interacted with David 2 weeks ago. It was like really heartwarming for me to see. And afterwards, I texted Travis and I was like, let me know if like I'd love to come in, and even in the future, in a couple months, if you want me to come back and like really, really work through, even if it's for a couple hours, like maybe we could jump on at different times and I could process through a couple of these things like more in detail or more in depth. I'd be happy to. I really love what you guys are doing. I appreciate this group together, and just keep going. Like look for those positive things. Remember that abracadabra, with my words I create. You are the master of your universe. Like you have that ability. It's right there in front of you.
Man, I'm going to end on that moment. I appreciate you, Dennis. Love you, brother. We'll be in touch soon. Good night, everybody.
Take care, guys. See you soon.
Thanks, Dennis.